Ciao, friends. Happy New Year. I'm Kali Mortwood, and welcome back to my channel. I'm happy to have you here. I hope that your celebrations last night were fun and adventurous, and that everyone made it home safe and in one piece. And I'm excited to start something new with this new year. This is going to be my first ever pick a card tarot video, which means that I am going to set out some decks. You are going to pick the card that resonates most with you, and then you will get a reading that is going to tell you what to expect for the upcoming year. Very exciting. So, welcome, and in a moment, I will show you the cards. Okay, so the way that this works is I'm going to introduce these 4 decks to you along with their corresponding crystals, and you're going to pick the one that resonates the most with you. The very first one is my Queen Mab Oracle deck. It's Queen of the Fae, and it is the citrine crystal. The second deck is the Macabre tarot deck with my Howlite. The third deck is my Crow Tarot deck with the Amethyst. And the fourth deck is my Halloween Tarot deck with a Tiger's Eye. So what you are going to do is you are going to sit in silence for a moment, just ponder over the decks, think about which one speaks to you. And then when you are ready and you have picked your deck, you can go to the timestamp, which I'm going to have listed in the description of the video for the deck that you chose. I'm going to give you a moment to do that. And when you are ready, click on the timestamp with the corresponding deck, and I'll see you there. Hello, my friends from deck number 1. You chose the Queen Mab Oracle deck, and you also chose the citrine, which is wonderful. This is a crystal of abundance, prosperity, self-healing. So I'm really happy that you chose these because this is looking great for the beginning of the new year. So the very first card that we're going to pull is, of course, from the Queen Mab Oracle deck. And we're just going to get an idea of what's going on with you or what's coming up for the new year. There we go. Oops. And this is the Forgeries of Jealousy. The Forgeries of Jealousy card. First of all, this comes to the number 5, which often speaks about chaos or disruption, and that's in a really healthy way, a healthy chaos. The forgeries of jealousy are talking about the lies that jealousy tells you. So this is expressing that when you see other people, especially now when we see everything on social media, it's easy for us to look at someone and think that they're living a perfect life. And telling ourselves this story that because they have it, somehow we can't have it. It's also easy for us to feed into our insecurities and tell ourselves that our partner or our best friend or someone might love someone more than they love you. That's why we get upset when our friend seems to be spending more time with someone new, right? And this is telling you that jealousy is lying to you and it's not helping you at all, and it's actually holding you back. And so moving into this new year, it's important to change your narrative, your story, and how you see things. So instead of seeing someone else's success as some kind of backtrack for you, as some kind of way of preventing you, start to see someone else's success as living proof that it can happen for you. The difference between lack and luck is one letter. If you're thinking in a mindset of lacking of scarcity mindset, then you always feel like there isn't enough, and you start to act that way and hoard your time, hoard your possessions, etc., because you feel like there isn't enough to go around. But when you move that lack into luck and start to realize how lucky you are to have the things that you do have, it completely changes the whole narrative. So that is what this first card is giving us. We're going to move into just kind of seeing what's coming up for your upcoming year. The Fool. Okay, with the Fool, my friends, the tarot is asking you to kind of go into 2024 with a very relaxed attitude, to start understanding that things are going to happen the way that they're meant to, and whether or not you worry about the consequences, whatever happens is going to happen. And you being stressed about what's going to happen is actually going to make it very difficult for you to enjoy what is happening, right? So that's the first thing. We have some really big, oh wow, the Magician. I was just gonna say, we have some really big cards here. So these first two cards are major arcana, which means that we're speaking about destiny, we're speaking about fate, things that are out of our control. The Magician is a card of very high power. Basically, the Magician is saying what you have is all in your control. You create what your stage looks like, right? The world is a stage, and we're all actors upon it. And the Magician is telling you that you pull the tricks out of the hat. I also see here with the Seven of Pentacles that we're moving into a time of really connecting your abundance with your higher self, with the way that you think about things, possibly with your future self or just with your higher state of being. You are starting to understand, not necessarily money, but yes, like material possessions and things, you're starting to understand them in a different way. The Moon, another major arcana card. So we have some really big moves coming up in 2024. The Moon talks about shadow work, diving into the depths. And it's the number 18, which comes to the number 9, which is our number for coming full circle and being able to see things from a different perspective. And I think that's important here because we remember that the moon itself operates in cycles, right? There are times when she's completely gone and you can't see it at all. There are times when she's a tiny little sliver that you have to search for in the sky. And there are times when she's so blinding that she blocks out the stars. And we have to love all aspects of the moon in order to say that we love the moon, right? You can't love the moon only when she's full. So keeping that in mind, this is saying to really dive into those shadow aspects of yourself and start to really give yourself some love. That self-love is going to strengthen you and your views of the world. Let us see what else is coming up. Ooh, you're feeling very unruly today. That's excellent. That means that we're going to have some good things to say. Right now, I just kind of asking to myself about possibly things to look out for your career, for your possible love life. Let's just kind of see what that's going to look like. Justice. Wow, another major arcana card. So now we have 4 major arcana cards out of 6 cards total, and that is really saying a lot. Justice talks about things coming to head or coming to the way that they're meant to. It talks about things working out, wrongs being righted, things happening in a just and fair way. So this is all really big for you. What else do we have? 5 of Daggers, or the 5 of Swords. Once again, 5s are about chaos or a little bit of disruption. So this is saying that there is going to be some communication that you're going to have to work through. I can see in this card that there's maybe some ways of expressing yourself or expressing your boundaries that aren't exactly aligned with who you are becoming. And there's going to be some big changes in that. Oh, in converse to the moon, we also have the sun. Wow. The sun talks about how everything is going to work out. We just have to believe. It's one of the brightest, most optimistic cards in the tarot. It's saying that everything is going to work out exactly the way that we intended, everything is intended. And it's going to be this beautiful thing for you. You're going to learn new ways to express yourself, but most importantly, you're going to dig into your roots and you're going to learn why you think the way that you think and why you need to express yourself the way that you do. And I can see, let's ask about love. Oh, I just asked if you were going to get love and I see the moon again. Wonderful. I think it's beautiful that this is reflected twice in the tarot. The moon in this regard, in regards to love, is saying very deeply, pretty much what I expressed before, that in order to really love someone, you need to love all parts of them and all aspects of them. And I really feel that when you get down into your deep shadows and you really start to love yourself fully, you are going to bring in that love that you're looking for. Because when you are able to love yourself authentically, then you allow other people to love you authentically. And this is just saying that there's going to be some really, really bright, beautiful times. And then there's also going to be a lot of work that needs to be done. But ultimately, it looks like things are going to work out exactly the way that they need to. The most important thing that you're going to need to work with here, you can see that this person has daggers in their eyes. You need to change your story, right? We're coming back to the narrative that you're speaking, lack versus luck. You need to change your story. And this is saying that you need to express it, get down into your nitty gritty of why am I thinking this way? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I saying this about myself? Why am I saying this? I wouldn't say this about a friend, right? Why am I jealous of this person? I should be happy for her. This is all coming back to that. And you are the creator of this story. I feel like this is going to be a very prosperous year for you. We have one more deck here we're going to work with today, the Halloween Tarot deck. And actually, look at that. Right on the bottom of the deck is the Magician card. I did not plan that, but I really love that that popped up right now because I feel like it is just, it's just agreeing with, or I'm losing the word right now. But yeah, it's validating basically what I was just saying, is that you are the one pulling the rabbit out of the hat, right? You can pull the wool over anybody's eyes. But most importantly, it's not about that. It's about being the master of your craft, expressing yourself, and creating the story, setting the stage the way that you want it. I see in the Three of Ghosts that there are going to be a lot of social outings for you this year. Perhaps last year you did a little bit of hermiting. I know I did. It was really necessary. But I'm not mad about it. I can see that you are going to have a lot more social outings. I can also see that you're going to come to a really good place, not only with your friend group, but within yourself and how you feel about things. It's going to be this very, I want to say like harmony, like it's just this very connected feeling. And I feel that this might be speaking about a special connection. I kid you not. Look at what just came up again. The moon. I am not joking. It has now come up 3 times in your reading, my friends, from deck number 1. I am blown away right now. And you know what I was just thinking about? When I pulled this card, I thought to myself, oh, I wonder if this is talking about love or some kind of love connection. And the moon came out again. So I'm actually going to switch these sides because I really like having these line up. Look at that. Look at it. You are going to do some deep self-work, some deep self-reflecting, some deep self-love. You are really going to get in there, get in the nitty-gritty, and that is going to bring you this beautiful abundance. And it is going to bring you this healing justice, the feeling that things are being fixed, things are being set right. Okay, 8 of Imps. Wands are imps, which are fire, and the 8 talks about movement, actions. The 8 of Imps is saying that things are going to move pretty quickly for you. Once you get going, you're going to feel very passionate and you're going to feel very motivated and inspired. Things are going to start just coming out of you. You're going to tap into the flow, and it's going to be this beautiful creation time. And the 9 of Imps. Where you get to circle back around. You get to come back to things that maybe you used to really love or you used to really enjoy, and you get to experience it from a new perspective. You get to bring in a new feeling or a new way of expressing yourself or a new way of being creative. And it's all tied in with each other, and it's all tied in with you doing that deep self-work, love, and changing the narrative, right? You don't need to write this story of lack. You need to write the story of luck and find that gratitude, and you are good to go. Well, my beauties from deck number 1, I hope that this reading finds you well. And if you have made it all the way to the end, please leave a moon emoji to show me that you and others that you made it to the end of reading number 1. And I wish you happy, prosperous blessings. Ciao for now. Hello and welcome, all of my beautiful friends who chose deck number 2. This is the Macabre tarot deck. It's my newest edition. And you also chose the Howlite crystal. I love the Howlite crystal. I call it the ADHD crystal. It's perfect for calming the mind, clearing out the constant stream of chatter. It induces peace and patience, shift in perspective. I love it. And in fact, fun fact about me, this is the perfect size to stick in my mouth, and I like to stick it in my little cheek pocket. Don't worry, I wash it before and after. So, to the horror of my friend Audrey, yes, it's very lovely to hold in your mouth. So let's begin. Let's begin by seeing kind of where we've been coming from for the past year so that we can get a perspective on what things are looking like. Perfect. So the very first card that I pulled is the guide to number 5 of the Major Arcana. The Major Arcana talks about things that are predestined, predetermined, kind of out of our control. 5 often talks about a little bit of chaos, a little bit of disruption. Wonderful. The guide is actually the Hierophant in the traditional tarot deck. So what this is saying to me is that over the last year, you've spent a lot of time really focusing on not necessarily rules, but yes, kind of like this is how this works. This is how I expect things to be. Kind of figuring out the laws of the land. And now that you've gotten a good idea of how things work, you can start writing your own rules. So that's why it's important for us to understand the rules so that we can start to make them work for ourselves, right? Let's continue and see what else we had. Oops, I just bumped my camera. Okay, we're good. Let's see what else we have. I really love the way that these cards feel. They have this beautiful metallic gold edging. Ooh, okay. We did just have some cards flip out, but I don't usually take that many cards. So I'm gonna ask them to try again. Let's see what we got. Ace of Cups. I can see in the Ace of Cups that over the last year, you have spent a lot of time with new ways of experiencing your emotions, new ways of understanding a certain depth to yourself that you might not have seen before. And we've also got a Nightmare of Cups, which in the traditional tarot deck is the Knight of Cups. And this is kind of along the same vein. So along with experiencing these new emotions and things that were coming up for you, you also really put to use the tools that you've been learning and honing, and you've kind of allowed that to guide your emotional presence over the last year. And it's kind of been this new exploration of your own depths. I love that for you. Here we are with the Two of Bones. Twos often talk about pairing, harmony, balance, right? And the bones are referring to wands in the traditional tarot deck. So a Two of Bones is saying that there's been a balance of kind of finding what inspires you, what lights you up, what is motivating you. And you really feel like things have worked out the way that they were meant to over the last year. I feel like things have kind of come to a head that you weren't so sure of the outcome, but you feel like they worked out the way that they were supposed to. And you've been doing a lot of work. All of this has come from these new emotional paths that you've been taking. And it's kind of been an exploration into your own rule book, right? Your own understanding of, okay, this is why I feel this way, and now I'm going to expand upon that by expressing myself. So you've been like finding new ways to express yourself, and you feel very satisfied with how things have turned out in the end. Oh, wow. Our Seven of Cups. Wonderful. So once again, we are sticking with the cup theme here. Cups really do talk about that inner world, right? Your inner movements, your water, your flow. And sevens speak about connecting with the higher power, higher self. This is saying that when you are tapping in, so this is coming up for you, when you tap into your inner world, you have so many options that are available to you. You are connecting to your higher self, and you are opening yourself up to the options of the world, right? And that's by tapping into those emotions that you've been working with. Oh, yes. Look at that. All right, my friends from group 2, this is the Sun. The Sun is one of the best and most optimistic cards in the tarot. It talks about things coming full send, right? Just getting the full experience, really just having everything that you wanted or could want. It also talks about finding that joy, that peace. So you have a lot of optimistic things. I knew it was coming. Something had to happen, right? Here we are with the Tower. And the Tower comes to the number 7, because this is 16 in Roman numerals. And 7, once again, is about tapping into that higher self. So the Tower, it does say that you are going to lose everything that you thought that you had. And not necessarily everything. I mean, the things that stand firm are the things that are meant to be there, right? But this is saying that you are going to come into a time of just letting go. And I wonder how much of it is because you've learned the rules. Now you can start to let go of all those things that you used to believe, because you've learned that actually some of those rules might be outdated, right? Some of those things that you originally thought about yourself or felt about your experience they need to be let go, because it's something from society's rules, and you have the power to make your own. So let's see what else we have coming up for you. Ace of Swords. Wonderful. So swords are all about communication, intellect, the way that you think about things, how you express things. So as well as having this new understanding of yourself emotionally over the last year, over the course of 2023, stepping into 2024, you're going to have a new way of expressing it, and it's going to come very naturally for you. And it's going to come from this depth that you found, this connection with yourself, and also this release of things that no longer serve you. And the Tower is very uncomfortable, but it's necessary. This card here, we have the 3 of Wands. 3s are all about creation, and Wands are also about that motivation, what lights you up. So what I'm seeing here is that when you start to really tap into your higher self and how you feel about things, things are really going to open up for you. But as they open up, as one door closes, another door opens, and vice versa, you are going to lose quite a bit. And who knows what this means, right? You're going to experience some deep changes in your life in the next year. But these deep changes are going to give you some creative fire, a creative spark, and a new way of expressing yourself. And it's going to call you to your higher purpose. This card talks about how we are being called to be our highest versions of ourselves. You are being called to step forward. You are being called to step up to the plate. So it's basically asking, are you ready? And this year you are going to prove that you are. I'm very excited for you. So let's kind of see what else we have to look forward to. Oh, actually, let's pull a card from the Queen Mab Oracle deck. This is my Queen Mab Oracle deck. She is the Queen of the Fae. All things mystical, other realm. The Falcon's Flight. Number 31, which comes to the number 4. 4s often talk about our roots, our stability, our foundations. This card, the Falcon's Flight, is a card that talks about mastering your craft. So it talks about how if there is something that you've been working on, that you've been trying to master, you've been practicing for the last year, the time is now to bring it forward and use it, right? Use those tools that you've been honing and bring it out into the world. If there isn't, if you haven't been working on something, then this is saying to pick something that you want to focus on with a falcon's view and hone in on it and get it going. So the way that you would do this, is to create a new habit. It takes 21 days to form a habit. So the way that you would do this is to decide what you really want to master, what you really want to focus on, and you're going to hone your energy in on that. And that's exactly what this card is saying here, Judgment. It's saying that you are really being called to step up to the plate. If you have been doing some creative things, which it looks like you have, or you will be very soon in 2024. If you have been doing creative things, bring it forward, bring it out. If you have not, find something to focus your energy on, because we can be good at anything, but you can be great at something when you give yourself direction. So let's give us a little bit more guidance for the upcoming year. Let's see what we have. Some advice for you to follow. Maybe there's a little bit of love or something in there. Let's see. Oh, wow. You got the sun again. What are the odds that out of the 4 decks that I've used, we got the sun twice? This is saying things are really, really looking up for 2024. It is going to be a very abundant, prosperous, and exciting year for you. It is not going to come without some challenges. In order for you to be the master, to step into your highest self, to have this fulfillment, you are going to have to let some things go. And unfortunately, sometimes that can be things that are unexpected, things that we never expected to lose. Relationships, material possessions, beliefs, roles in our minds, whatever it is, you're going to be letting quite a few things go. But what's left, is what's meant to be left there, right? What's left are your real gems, are your real core things that you've got. And so that's important to pay attention to. 8 of Imps. This is a really big time for you, for things to be moving really quickly. I'm seeing, once again, we're talking about wands. Wands have come up 3 times at least. There is a really big creative output that you are going to bring to the world. And it's going to move very quickly, and you're going to just tap into the flow and release it, release your little imps out into the world, whatever your creative project needs. And we've also got imps on the other side, the 5. And 5s often talk about disruption or some kind of chaos in some way. And as you can see, there is a little bit of a battle going on here. This is talking about how when you are expressing yourself creatively, it might feel counterintuitive, or you might be battling against yourself to put it out there. But you need to remember that you have spent a long time becoming who you are. And if this is something that is a new venture, then you don't get good at something without being bad at it first. Does that make sense? So you are going to kind of, I don't want to say like battling against yourself, but you are going to be asking yourself, is this good enough? Is this how I want to express myself? Is this how I want to be seen? And let's see, I'm going to pull a card really quick and just see if we have any romance coming up for us in 2024. I know some of us are interested in that, some of us aren't, or just a general idea of what our love life will look like for the upcoming year. I've got the Terror of Cups. The Terror of Cups is the page in the traditional tarot deck. And this is saying that there is someone coming into your life, possibly younger than you, in a water sign, who is going to trigger you emotionally. You are going to spend some time learning more about your emotions and about what they mean and how they're triggered, and how to not necessarily control them, but how to wield them. Yes, like water flowing. You don't want to control it, you just want to guide where it goes and allow those emotions to pour out fully. So when you step into that vulnerability, when you step into that flow, you are going to find your truth there. When you love yourself, you'll find someone who loves you. If you are in a partnership, that's wonderful too, because it means that you're going to be doing a lot of depth and growth this year. So, my lovely friends from reading number 2, I am so happy that we had this time together. Your reading is really hopeful for the upcoming year. There's a lot of optimism, a lot of connecting with your inner self, and letting some things go. But there's also a lot of creativity. And actually, I didn't even realize that we got the Tower twice. You are going to have a lot of letting things go. Oh, well, it's going to turn out really well for you because we also got the Sun twice to counterbalance that, and it's all part of the process. If you have made it this far to the end of the reading, please leave a little sun emoji in the comments and let us know how this reading spoke to you. And if you would like to listen to another reading or if another deck spoke with you, you can check in with that timestamp. Otherwise, ciao for now. Hello, all of my beautiful friends who chose deck number 3. You chose the Crow Tarot deck and the Amethyst. The Amethyst is one of my favorite stones. I carry one with me all the time. They're wonderful for increasing psychic abilities. They're also beautiful for bringing in calming energy and cleansing energy. And they're said to be associated with the cleansing or purity that comes through suffering, because the purple color is representative of the wounds or suffering that we go through in life. So, wonderful crystal to move into 2024 with, because this is something that is going to alchemize pain into pleasure, if you will. And we're going to start with the Crow Tarot deck. And we're just going to begin with seeing where we're coming from 2023. The very first card that I'm getting is the Magician. The Magician is my card for making what you want out of your story, right? You are the creator. You are pulling the tricks out of the hat. You are the one who says that this is what this is, right? And the Magician is one of the most powerful cards in the tarot deck. So you have had a very powerful 2023. You really have stepped into your role. I can see that you also kind of at some points felt like you took on a little bit too much. Anybody could say that, but this is specific to connecting with how you speak and how you think about things. And maybe you were saying some things that, how do I put this? Agreeing to things that you maybe don't really agree to, and like just kind of putting yourself, like making yourself complacent or easy, agreeable to get along with. And this is saying that you kind of stepped out of that. You realized that you were taking on too much, and you were able to really step out of that. And you also had a really intuitive connection with your money this year. I'm seeing in the 7 of Pentacles that you were really in touch with your, not just your finances, but mostly with how you feel about your material possessions, and mostly about how you feel about the things that you have in the world around you. I think it's interesting that we are mirrored by 2 sevens on both sides. Sevens often talk about spirituality, connecting to the higher self. Okay. And here we have the King of Swords. Swords are indicative of communication, logic, reasoning, the way that you think about things, how you express yourself. And so I can see in 2023, if there was any confusion at all, you have come in control of your thoughts and the way that you express yourself. not only with others in the outer world, but how you express yourself to yourself inside of your own domain. So what may have been a bit of chaotic feeling in this is that you realized how to step into your power, and how to, you were like, I'm juggling too much, I'm saying things that I don't really mean, I'm not doing that anymore, right? Broke out of that. Let's see what else you had. Justice. This is a card that keeps coming up today, so I feel like it's the theme of the day. You really feel like justice was served. Something big happened in 2023 that you feel like things worked out fair, they worked out reasonably, and you really feel like they're working out the way that they're meant to. And that is a good feeling. We're gonna move into a Queen Mab Oracle deck. If you hear a squeaky toy, that is Pepper. She just got a burst of energy and is in the other room squeaking on her toy. Here we go. Her Pale Fire, number 39. 39 comes down to the number 3. 3 often talks about creativity and expression. 3s also speak to that connection between the mind, body, and soul. And so what this card is asking you to remember is that sometimes the best course of action is to rest, is to rejuvenate yourself, is to reconnect with yourself and your inner spark and allow it to heal. It also speaks about how in her Pale Fire, it's almost symbolic of a moon. There's a moon here, talking about how in these restful periods, you can allow yourself to heal and grow again and know that the fire is going to return. And remember that oftentimes when we are chasing something, we're actually chasing it away. So when you really want something and you're running after it, you might not get it because maybe you're pushing it away with this frenzied kind of energy. And by allowing something to come to you, you're being that magnet. You're drawing what you want into the world. Okay, let's move on. Okay, let's see what we have to look forward to coming up in 2024. Three of Cups. The Three of Cups is the card about social outings, social activities, being in groups with close friends, and just kind of sharing that time together, right? Sharing your emotions and really connecting. And I think that's important for you in order to get this kind of rejuvenation that you need, because I can see that you've been doing a lot of work. We also have the Three of Crystals. Three of Crystals is akin to the Three of Swords in the traditional tarot deck. So what we have here is another tie-in with the swords that have already been pretty prominent from the beginning. And this is speaking about that now that you're in absolute command of yourself and what's going on in your way of expressing yourself, of understanding your thoughts and your thought processes and your triggers and your boundaries, etc., you are now going to get creative in the way that you're going to start expressing yourself. And it's going to be very in tune with yourself and your higher self. And I can see in 2024 that things are going to move really quickly for you. If you didn't already feel like 2023 flew by, you are going to feel like perhaps 2024 is even faster. But in a good way. I feel like it's kind of almost like you're on this ride that is just expanding you and causing you to have such growth, and there is no getting off, right? There is no stop. You are hitting the ground running, and you're really, really coming to a harmony with yourself, because we're back with crystals, so we're back with swords again. Once again, this is something that keeps coming up. You are really in touch with how you speak, mostly to yourself. And I think that is so vital. And it's something that you have definitely gotten control of, that you're very active about being on top of, but also you're going to get into a more intuitive way of speaking, of perhaps expressing some vulnerabilities that maybe weren't there or were there but haven't been expressed in a safe way before. Let's see what we have coming up in regards to any advice or things to look out for. Also, I wonder if there's a little love or romance. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Oh, we had 2 cards pop out. Oh, okay, so I did ask about romance, and here we are with a page of imps and the world. I'm gonna bring those up a little bit closer so you can see them. Now, the world is a major arcana card. This talks about big picture things, right? Things that we almost have no control over. And I hate saying that, but it feels like these are things that are almost like predestined to happen. Now, I did ask about romance, and they have this page of imps here. There are 2 different ways that we can look at this. First and foremost, we can take the card literally for what it means. And this says that there's going to be a lot of learning about what motivates you, what inspires you, what passions you have. And that's very important for you to acknowledge. But also, if we take this card as kind of a not so literal meaning, I see here a page who is a gender neutral person. This could be anyone who is kind of young, who brings this spark, brings this passion, lights you up, and they might be a little bit younger than you, and that's okay. I think it just means that if there is someone who comes into your life, it is someone who allows you to begin to feel the burn again, because you've burned yourself out. Pretty much that's what this is saying. So it's asking you to rejuvenate, and remember, the world is your oyster. You have options. That's what the world card is talking about. Like, there are so many options. There's so many things that you can do to have in the world, to have your place in the world. Now we're back with swords. Now I know that it says bats. In traditional tarot deck, this would be the 9 of Swords. And as you can see, it's someone who is crying in bed. Now, 9s often talk about seeing things full circle, coming around and being able to look at something from a 360 perspective, right? This is talking about things that keep you up at night. So you've gotten really good at expressing yourself, and as you're coming into this time of intuitively expressing yourself, you're going to start coming to face with some shadows, some dark things. And it's important to get those out so that they aren't keeping you up at night, right? My therapist says you have to feel it to heal it. And this, I think, is really indicative of that, because it's saying this is something that needs to be expressed, and you're coming into that time that you're going to be able to share it. So once again, we have another 9, a 9 of ghosts. And I also pulled out the 6 of bats, which once again, bats are swords. So here we are. We now have 6 sword cards in this tarot spread out of not even 20 cards. So that is pretty impressive. The 9 of ghosts we just talked about. 9s are about coming full circle, right? You are really going to see what you have. You are really going to understand what makes you you. You are really tapping into yourself. And I almost feel like it's in some ways connected with this perhaps person who comes into your life and lights up this passion, or perhaps this learning or knowledge of the passion that you ignite on your own. You are really going to start to understand what you bring. The 6 of bats over here, once again, we talked about this. This is becoming in harmony with what you're expressing, but then we're also seeing some letting go, some leaving things behind, right? There's moving forward and not looking back at what you have to let go. And sometimes we have to let go of things that we're saying just because our parents said them to us, or just because we heard our teacher or someone say to us. So we have to let go those ways of speaking or expressing ourselves too. Now, I know I've been talking about expressing yourself a lot, but it's because you have so many swords in here. They are an air sign. That is what they represent. And the last card that I'm pulling for you is the Eight of Pumpkins. My beautiful friends from reading number 3, I can see here in the Eight of Pumpkins that you are going to have a very full year of abundance and prosperity. Things that you have been working on are going to bring you abundance. So these passionate, creative pursuits that perhaps maybe you're going to taking a new venture or something, you are going to have money well, not exactly money, but you know what I'm saying, abundance and prosperity just coming into you and in new ways. And I love that for you. I really do. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me. I hope that this gives you a little hope for 2024, and I am looking forward to another reading. So if you would like to go to the timestamp for another deck, if another deck spoke to you, you can always go to that timestamp and listen to that reading too. If you have made it here all the way to the end, thank you so much. We're going to put a little sword emoji, since we had so many swords, to show that you made it to the end of this reading. You can put that in the comments if you have any comments about the reading itself. And with that, I bid you ciao for now. Hello and welcome, my beautiful friends who chose group number 4, deck 4. That is our Halloween tarot deck. And the Tiger's Eye, the Tiger's Eye is traditionally known for protection, courage. It also brings good luck, clarity, and focus. If you find a tiger's eye, it's said to ask you to stay strong and to trust your instincts. So that is a very strong, powerful stone to be taking with us into the new year. And I'm sure that it will bring you protection and courage and luck and all those things stepping forward. So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to just kind of get an idea of where you've been for the last year, for 2023. So the very first card that comes up is the moon. And I can see in the moon that you have been doing a lot of shadow work, a lot of accepting the darker parts of yourself. And it's also important to remember that everything works in cycles, right? And the moon is a huge representative of that. Everything about the moon is in cycles, going full circle, rotating around the earth, rotating through its own phases. Everything is about accepting the full aspect of the moon. The next 2 cards that I had come up were the Knight of Pumpkins and the Queen of Imps. This is my card, the Queen of Wands. I love this card. And the Knight of Pumpkins. So this is telling me that for the past year, for 2023, you started to really implement some tools and things that you had learned as far as money, finances, material possessions. Maybe you started to really get in charge of using a budget tracker. Maybe you were able to acquire or start learning how to acquire some furniture pieces that you've been wanting for a while and think big picture. You've also really been in touch with yourself creatively. Hello. You've been in touch with yourself creatively. You've been really intuitively in touch with yourself. And this is a beautiful place to be. I feel like you've been kind of exploring your inner shadow, your inner depths, and it's bringing up some emotions for you, which is to be expected. And wow, look, we have another queen right on the other side. So I can't make this up. We just got 2 queens and we got 2 ghosts, which are representative of cups in the traditional tarot deck. So As I was just saying, this has brought up a lot of emotions for you, and you've been using, you've been working through it. I got a card saying that you have really come into power over it. And not so much in like a dominant sense, but in an understanding of what motivates you, what inspires you, what drives you, and also how you feel about things, what triggers you. And it's this very comfortable, intuitive place. So you've been doing a lot of work, my beautiful friends from group number 4. I can see that this year has been pretty intense for you emotionally, but most importantly, it's been about you stepping into your power and kind of accepting your role as the ruler of your emotions, or a ruler of the things that you have in your life. So let's read a Green Mug Oracle card. Kind of see what 2024 is going to look like for us. Goodness, okay. These actually popped up together and they were stuck together. And I'm going to read them both for you. The first one that we have is number 28, These Violent Delights. And as you can see, there is a merman person cast about on a rock. It looks like perhaps a shipwreck. I can see here in These Violent Delights that there is going to be a lot of instability, a lot of drama, and to some extent it's going to be almost intentional because you like it, you like the mix-up. And this is saying that there is going to be this big upset, unstable conditions. If you want something more stable, then you're going to have to leave the drama behind. If you want to be in the drama, then you have to accept that it's going to have possibly a bittersweet ending. The name comes from a quote from Shakespeare, "These violent delights have violent ends." And so this is saying that there is going to be some kind of big drama-filled, not mess, but you're going to some extent love it, but to another extent, if it starts to drain you, you have to get out. So that's something that you have to come to terms with. But let's see what we are complementing it with. We have number 26, A Destiny Decrees. And it's this beautiful woman in a deep purple with a letter and a crown. I'm loving this. This card is actually talking about how you may have been preparing yourself to be a queen your whole life, but when you put the crown on your head, you realize how heavy it was, and perhaps it really isn't for you. And I mean that as a metaphor to say that maybe there's something, a job or a relationship or something that you thought was going to be like the end all, but you are being asked to step into something more. It was basically a placeholder for you to move up, right? So this is saying embrace the chaos. I'm seeing for 2024 that there is going to be some big upheaval and some big disturbing, disruption to what you might have thought might have been safe waters. And it's healthy because you need to let go of everything that isn't really living up to what you thought it was going to be, because you need to know that there are things that will live up to your standards, that will live up to your expectations. And so embracing that is kind of understanding, like I was saying, like that bittersweet ending of loving something and knowing that you did love it for the time that you had it and you loved it the best that you could. And now it's time to let that go, right? So those are two really big things to take with us for 2024. You are really stepping into a time of understanding exactly what you will and won't accept in your life. And that is very powerful for you, because in that accepting of what you will accept, in that understanding, you can also understand what you will no longer accept and what you need to let go of. So let's see what we've got coming up. 2 of crystals. Crystals are swords in the traditional tarot deck. This is from the Macabre tarot. And 2s talk about balance. And a 4 of crystals. Okay, so we have a lot of learning how to, or not learning, but expressing yourself the way that you think. Yes, Judgment, and 3 of Cups. Wonderful. Let's go through this. So we started off with the 2 of crystals. The 2 of crystals, like I said, is swords in the traditional tarot deck. Talks about balance and the way that you speak. The 4 is talking about the roots. So I'm finding here that for 2024, what you can expect is that you're going to find this way of expressing yourself that you feel is very authentic to who you once were and also to who you want to be. And it's finding that balance in between. You want to be true to yourself, to your core self, but you also want to be able to express this new version of yourself and holding space for that. You are also going to have some social outings. That's what this 3 of Cups card indicates. Social gatherings. We'll come back to that. I'm seeing here in the Judgment that you are being asked to come up, to be pulled up to your higher self, your future self. You are asked to step into your next level. And this is really powerful. You are kind of pulling the wool away from things that you thought you were holding on to. I can see that like over the last year, since you've built so much, done so much work, strengthening yourself, empowering yourself, doing the shadow work, understanding yourself, you're going to have this realization of what belongs and what doesn't, right? It's like the burning away of things that no longer serve us. I love this. Ooh, you're going everywhere. Hello. Let's see if we have some romance or something coming up for you. Some things to look out for. King of Wands. Okay. My beautiful group number 4. The King of Wands is... well, I did just ask about romance, and immediately this fell out. This is saying that if you are not already... Okay, I'm going to read this 2 different ways. The first way is to read it literally of what the card means, right? The card itself is saying that you're going to be very extroverted in your creative pursuits. You're going to start putting yourself out there, and you're going to be this passionate, fiery person who's in charge of their domain. To read it not literally, to read it in a way of intuitively of what I'm picking up is there is a person in your life coming up in 2024 that is going to match you. And I like that I used match because it is fire. They are going to meet you and match you, because I know up here we had the Queen of Imps. This is actually the Queen of Wands. So this is a perfect partner. You are going to have someone who is very passionate. They are very motivated. They are enthusiastic. They light a passion in you. It's a very outgoing relationship. I don't know how to say that. Like you're going out and you just feel connected with this person. And they're going to light up a fire in you, definitely. The High Priestess. This is a major arcana card. This is the highest position of power a woman has in the tarot. The High Priestess is someone who is in complete control of everything that is in their realm. You have the ability to alchemize, to turn anything into gold, to turn pain into lessons and growth, to turn heartbreak into gratitude for having loved. You have the ability to create your world. So 2024 is a really, really powerful year for you. Oh, we just pulled 2 cards out. Okay, so we are here with the 3 of Swords. I don't dislike getting a lot of cards. I don't dislike many cards. The 3 of Swords is one of the cards that I tend to dislike seeing, simply because it does represent a little bit of heartbreak. There is some letting go. There is some digging in here. 3s also talk about that connection with mind, body, spirit, and Swords are talking about expressing yourself. So this is saying that there is going to be some really deep connection with yourself, and it might be through pain, but it's just like what I was saying earlier about alchemizing, right? Turning things into gold. You're going to find in this partner that matches you, and I'm not saying that this is where this heartache is going to happen, but you are going to find in this heartache that there is something beautiful there that comes out of it. And over here, we also have a Knight of Swords, which is really cute because we had the Knight of Pumpkins earlier, and we also had the Knight of Cups. So we're doing a lot of work here, my friends, in group number 4. You are really using the tools to express yourself, and it's going to be uncomfortable and uneasy, and because you've been practicing, and now you're putting them into practice. So, whoops, my goodness. Tell me your secrets. Death. Lucky number 13. The Death card is nothing to be afraid of, my loves. So our Death card here is talking about the spiritual death, the complete cycle, right? Like the end. And I see a lot of this being reflected back in the Queen Mab Oracle cards that we got earlier when we're talking about this drama, this chaos, this release. I feel like this, whatever situation you are presently in that is going to reveal itself that you need to leave, it is going to hurt, and it is going to cause a very powerful change in you. But you are here for it. You are above it, not necessarily above it, but you are in it to win it, if you know what I'm saying. You're here to understand the beauty of life, and you're here to get the lessons from it. And just like I expressed earlier about embracing the chaos, embracing the change, you know that something better is coming, right? You were just having a space holder for what could be. And you need to keep in your mind that this is not the best that I can get until it is. Because that's what these cards are saying. They are saying you need to just recognize when things are here just for the lessons and let them go. Well, my friends, in group 4, I think this was a really beautiful reading. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Happy New Year. I hope that this year brings you all of the growth and lessons and prosperity that you and your soul have agreed to receive. You are going to get a lot out of social interactions. You are going to really step up into your highest version of yourself. And you are going to meet someone, I think, who really matches you. And whatever you have to let go of is all part of the process. I am so excited for you. I'm grateful for you for being here. If you have made it all the way to the end of this reading, please leave a little fire emoji in the comments to let us and others know that you were in group 4 and you made it to the end. And you can leave your comments, anything that you would like to say if this spoke to you. And if you would like to listen to one of the other readings, you can hop on over to one of the timestamps there that called to you. In the meantime, I will be cleansing my space. And so, ciao for now.